Welcome back, my friend and fellow scriber, to the writer's Mindscape. This is Time with Tim. I'm Tim. I write under the pen name Tim RG. So it's been a while. Yeah. I mean, outside my Books for Writers review and my Apps for Writers review the last few months, I haven't posted much on this channel. Well, there was a video I recorded back at the end of June that explained that, but we'll talk more about that at the end of the video. And what I want to talk about right now in this video is something I've been struggling with. And I've been struggling with a lot of things. I want to talk about one that's been struggling with my writing apparently for many years, and I'm just realizing it now. And what that thing I'm struggling with? I don't know what I want. The problem. I just can't seem to make up my mind on what I want in my writing. A novel, anything. There's a great example of this is 2 weeks ago, I started working on a new novel. This novel we're going to call Shift because it's the working title of the first book and probably what I'll refer to as the series, but I don't really see a series name at the moment. But I've worked on this series before. It was around April or to June of last year, somewhere around there. And I actually had to stop working on it because I went back to my master's program after taking the month of May off. And that, wow. June got really intense really fast after taking a month off. So I had to stop there. But I also had to stop because I kind of hit a wall. And it had to deal with the magic that I was developing in Shift because it clashed with that of the magic of another world. A world that this story was going to directly tie into. And the magic from Shift had to influence the magic of that world. And they didn't. Because based on the magic I had already established in my ideas for this world, it had to match up. And I really didn't want to change it. Every time I thought about changing it, I just kept going back to, no, I want what I have set up already. I mean, I love the story and what I was coming up with in Shift, but because it took place in the four worlds, the new version of the four worlds at that time, it had to work and influence with the story I was going with at that time. And it just wasn't, and I wasn't happy with it. So that also kind of worked out. My master's program getting intense, and I kind of had to focus more on that than anything else. Back to my point. So I'm picking back up for this story, but I'm taking a new approach on it. I'm going back to my original idea for this. And I wanted to do something different with this one. And we'll get to that in a few minutes. So I just wanted to go back to my hardcore base to this idea. That's what I wanted to do. So I just started jotting down some ideas. And then I got a few other ideas. And I got a few other ideas. It was simply just to start somewhere. And I liked these ideas. Then I took about a week off because I had other stuff I was doing. And I just felt like I kind of was like, okay, let me process this. But when I came back to it, I was like, okay, I have more ideas, but something felt off about the story. I just couldn't put my finger on it. And it really came to a head when I sat down to actually work on the character profile of, at the time, was a main character, Rain. I just couldn't answer the question because I had set up what her want was for this story. But every time I tried to sit down to just work on her profile, I couldn't. And it all of a sudden just became like everything I've written down, which I really enjoyed and liked only about a week ago, was no longer good. No. It wasn't exciting enough. It wasn't exciting enough. Also applies to Ethereal overall. It's been the whole reason why Ethereal is a giant pile of a giant cluster because I have ideas and I change them. I take a break after a long period of time of development and I come back to it and I don't like it anymore, or I don't like pieces of it. So I come up with new and I like it, it seems to fit, but they don't fit. One of the big problems for early parts of Ethereal was I didn't have an ending, or I couldn't, and when I finally had an ending, I couldn't picture what it looked like, which is, to me, like the same thing as like not having an ending. Now, I think I actually have some reasons why this might be a case. Possible reason. Number one. First reason deals with Shift. And I'm doing something different, like I've already mentioned, with this novel than I've done with anything else. And that's actually structure the book in advance. Yeah, I know, structuring your novel in advance. Who would have thought? I know, it's a weird concept, right? Now, I know structure is important. I've studied it, I've learned it, and all that. But I've never actually structured my novel like, this is my inciting incident, this is my midpoint, this is the conclusion, the darkest night of the soul. In the early years, I knew all that. Like, I knew my midpoint, what was supposed to be my midpoint, I knew what my conclusion, and then my inciting incident. I knew that stuff. I just didn't structure it. But if you asked me it, I could tell you that is. I could pull out my outline, like, this is my midpoint, this is my exciting incident. Like, I could show you the bullet that I had that for. But around 2014, 2015, when I started working on my Veil trilogy, more specifically Seeing Through the Veil, I didn't know that. I mean, I changed my system a little bit, still had my outline, but I went with a scenes list. Something completely different. And the more I think about it, the more I couldn't tell you what was my midpoint. I probably could have told you the inciting incident for each version of that novel. I set myself up to fail because I was so frustrated that I didn't have a novel that I could put out into the world. My goal was to have my first novel come out in 2016. It was supposed to be book 1 of Marx Valera. Something I used to do, like I could have told you in those books, in the earlier versions, what my mid and all that, my midpoint and all that stuff was. And I was aiming for 2016 because it would have been 10 years since I started working on Marx Valera. But I scrapped that in 2014, into 2013, 2014. So I'm structuring it now, and I'm using Dan Harmon's Story Circle. I'm not going to go into that right now, but you can expect a video in story structure coming very soon on that, because I'm really enjoying what I'm learning about it. So I really want to talk about that and launch off the structure series we're going to be doing over in my experience. So I'm using that, and it's so different than what I'm used to that I'm worried I'm not meeting the qualifications for each of the 8 points around the circle. And I'm like, is this right? It just seems like I don't have all my more ideas at the moment. It just seems like I'm like, ugh. So I'm worried about that. But I'm also, my desire is just go back to what you know. Go back to just get all your bullets, get all of your scenes go, and then write. No. And then there's the rush factor. I want to rush through this, not because I want to just get something written. Partly, a tiny piece, not as big as it normally is. The other thing is I'm using novelfactory.com to use this, a cool novel software that I'm going to be actually doing a review on next month. And my free trial is up in 21 days. So I'm poor and I don't want to spend money on something, even if it is a good program. So I want to get it done beforehand. Reason number 2, I really just don't think the ending I'm going for is actually exciting. Because I have another ending, which is basically the same thing, but just more grand. I couldn't see how I could get there based on this new story structure that I'm using and make it seem plausible. This all comes down to the base of a few days of ideas. Only a few days of trying to figure out how to get there. I'm basing this all on scrapping that ending. The more I've thought about this, the more I agree that my story's not there. And it is kind of foolish that I'm actually willing to scrap the ending I really want based on a few days. Now you may also say, but it doesn't really matter if it's exciting, what works for the story, which is absolutely true. To take this idea of I'm scrapping an ending the one I want, based on a few days of not coming up with a way of seeing it or how I can get there, based on the story structure I'm using, is ridiculous. You may say, the idea may be like, it doesn't have to be exciting. Yes, it does. If it's not exciting or awesome, I don't want to write it. It has to be that way for me to want to write this book. The events have to be really cool and awesome. Hold on, let me fix that. Awesome! And I know that's not what keeps a reader reading. Having a great plot, great magic system or great fantastic world doesn't keep most readers reading. It's the characters, and I agree with that. But if the events, my characters I'm going to spend a lot of time developing aren't going to be going through some really cool and exciting events, I don't want to write it. It just comes down to it. Reason number 3. This one pertains to our ethereal overall. So when I started the idea for ethereal, or narthex, or whatever all the different I called it, and it all came down to what I believed in the purpose for the story. When I was originally writing this, or coming up with these ideas, I was a very passionate Christian. For those of you who've not gone through my writing career, my series on Time with Tim, on my writing career, where I look at what everything I've done wrong in my writing career, I talked about this very strictly. And just because I'm not going to go into it now, just so you know, I'm not a Christian anymore. I walked away. You want to know why? I'll have a link down to that video down below. You can find out there. Being a Christian and wanting to spread my faith was the purpose behind it. I was going to be looking at more of a spiritual element version of the overall multiverse I was going to develop for it. And that was going to be the purpose. When I walked away, I didn't have that purpose anymore. I still wanted to do it, but like the whole reason was this whole sharing my faith. And I didn't know, and over time, I didn't know what I believed anymore because it was a big blow to who I was for the last 10 years. 12 years. 12? 13? I don't remember anymore. So that hit. And when I look back actually thinking about how I developed it and not being able to come up with an ending and just being a mess and trying to figure out all these things, it really kind of comes down to it. Like, because while I had a purpose for the ending, originally when I was a Christian, I didn't anymore. And I didn't know because I didn't know what I believed. And now that I do know what I believe and where I want to go and what I want to say, it's now just finding that ending. That's part of it. That was a big part of where that's yeah. But that was really, it's cool to know that now. The conclusion. Writing's hard. If you don't believe me, you try to write a novel. I'll wait here and you can come back and tell me that it's not hard. And if you do tell me that, I'm going to call your bull because it's hard. And because it's hard, I want to rush through my development so I can get something out there. I just can't do that because I'm off my timetable by a lot. So I got to be patient, put the time in, and not stop trying to make up for lost time to get where I think I should be. Put the time in. And ultimately, I got to be patient. Something I'm not good at. Let's talk this channel. More specifically, let's talk about the video I filmed at the end of June that I never uploaded. The video covered more a personal vlog of what was going on in my life, why I have been inactive on this channel outside of posting my Apps for Writers and my first Books for Writers review, as well as an update on Forbidden Realm, how the writing for that was going, and development of Ethereal. In other words, it was one giant video. But it's actually a good thing I didn't upload it. Mostly because almost immediately after I filmed that, basically Forbidden Realm and Ethereal went like, huge revelation happened. I'm eventually going to put up the first part, the personal vlog, up soon. I just gotta double check to see if I need to refilm it. I don't necessarily want to because I think it did really capture how I was feeling. I just might have to put a new outro and a new intro in. I don't know. I gotta look at that. But that will be going up very shortly. As for Forbidden Realm update and Ethereal, I'm gonna do those, but I do have to I definitely have to refilm those. So those will come eventually. Hopefully sooner rather than later, but you will be getting some bonus content this week. I'm finally going to be uploading the remake of my very first vlog on this channel. That's right, the vlog where I covered my writing contract experience. That will be going up on Saturday. Now I know what you're gonna say. I've promised that video since I recorded it in October. And I have. I promise it's gonna be coming up on Saturday. Want some proof? Here's me rendering out that video. See? And here's me uploading the video. And you can see I'm premiering it at 9 a.m. on Saturday. It's coming, that will go up on Saturday, so you can understand that. Now, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, before I started the Time with Tim videos, I've only vlogged on this channel like one other time before I really started doing it. And that was about my running contract that I signed with myself. If you want to know what I'm talking about, check out the vlog on Saturday. If you can't wait, you can go find my first vlog on this channel. But I'm warning you, it's horrible. It's terrible. And I did it before I even finished the contract, so I don't know, because I just wanted to talk about it. But it was terrible. So that's everything I have. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please comment down below what you thought of this video. Please answer the question of the video. Have you ever had those times where you've been working on a project where you just can't seem to make up your mind on what you want? Let me know down in the comment section. Tell me your story, the frustration, or your lack of frustration, because it hasn't happened to you. And since you made it to the end of this video, please consider giving this video a thumbs up. You made it to the end of this video, so why not? You're clearly liking what you're seeing, so come on, give us a thumbs up. Since you're going to give us a thumbs up, and it's right there, hit that subscribe button. Nice. Ring that bell. Awesome. And make sure you turn on all notifications so you know when all Time with Tim and other Writer of Mindscape content goes live. I hope you're having a great week, and I'll chat with you in my next video. Bye.